Let me check for you.
So I know what you guys did.
Check the audio. Check it out.
Which audio?
Hi guy, good morning sir.
Yeah.
Check it out.
You see that shit now with this montage now, there will not be silence. Now somebody said this one from UK that he's not talking, he's quiet till around 9:22. So I have to tell him that this is the reason why.
I want to be sure. The same tune is on there, right? I think posted the same tune.
So this is on live now, this is on. This is on. This is transmitting now.
I think your voice is empty. This microphone, see, they came to set it.
They say it's only Amechi's mic that is clean. You have it all checked. It's only Amechi's mic that is clean.
Okay, let's go. Hello and thanks for staying with us. Welcome to Political Platform on Repa FM Nigeria. My name is Amechi Anapu. Yes, we have 3 issues to dwell on, and we'll indeed run through them today. The US is pushing that Sharia law being instituted by some states of the Federation be scrapped. There's a pushback expectedly. P2B attacked in Edo State yesterday. Different accounts of what happened, or even listeners on their mail laying blames here and there and all that. And a new Inspector General acting in the capacity, as it were. Arguments over whether it's another Lagos boy having served as aide-de-camp to President Bola Tinubu, the same way with Egbeto, who also served as ADC to the president when he was the governor. We'll have a full house today, and we'll be brief to make sure we'll crisscross these 3 issues we have raised. Adebayo Boduri, we have Ekunla Adewale Teve Tiaf, and Abulo Semo. Gentlemen, welcome. Let's start with Adebayo Boduri. Let's start with the issue of Sharia law and the push by the US to have it scrapped in Nigeria.
Thank you, Amishi, and good morning to my colleagues in the studio. Good morning to our listeners, how they are, wherever you are listening to us this morning. And then our YouTube viewers, I also say good morning to you. I'm sure you are enjoying our new Sikh tune. That what is constant in this world is change. That the old Sikh tune which we rested yesterday, we started using it since 1997. First Monday of 1997 when this program started. We have to rest it and have a new one, and I'm sure the new one is
not breezy. Entirely different from the old one,
but very breezy, and even the importance of it is that it is a danceable sing-tone.
Yeah, so one of our listeners said he loves the jazz. Yeah. So perhaps in future we'll have to bring in the Afrobeat to attract the young people. Yeah, the Afrobeat vibes in it.
So I'm sure you are enjoying it with us. Sharia is a very, very sensitive issue in Nigeria. The first uproar, if I will recall, over Sharia was in 1978 during the consideration of the draft constitution, the 1979 constitution, and the issue of the Sharia came up, and it disrupted the proceedings at the then Constituent Assembly with Justice Udo Udoma as the chairman of the Constituent Assembly, and it was a very chaotic situation. And since then, issue of Sharia has been recurring. I think the best attitude for me into Sharia is what the stance of President Olusegun Obasanjo says that want to have Sharia, let them have it.
And he said if it was politically motivated, it will fizzle out over time. Or if it was born out by genuine intention, it will linger.
It will linger.
But the US Congress, the US government thinks otherwise. If you recall, US President Donald Trump asked the Congress to advise it on how to approach issue of persecution and killing of Christians in Nigeria.
Yes.
The Congress held hearings and all that. Is all the hearings, the outcome that they put together in form of a report and submitted to the president at the White House yesterday. And the scrapping of Sharia is one of the many recommendations they put in that report.
I think for me, I see it as unnecessary interference. I say so because in most of the, I grew up in Kano, and I know as a matter of fact, if you are a Christian and they charge you to a Sharia court, you make it known your religion. They will take you to another court. So the operation of Sharia, at least when I'm used to, is only restricted to Muslims. And so to be having...
One of those that have their liver destroyed, non-Muslims?
Well, if there is prohibition, you have to adhere to it. It's a law.
Even when you are no Muslim?
If you have a law in a state that prohibits sale of alcohol, you should adhere to it.
Okay, let's get
there. For me, I won on this program, and I will continue to won. We must be very, very cautious on this newfound relationship with US. We are gradually subjecting our sovereignty to US, and we must be careful about it.
Apart from the scrap of Sharia law, they're also asking that Fulani herdsmen be disarmed. They're also asking that blasphemy laws be also expunged from our laws, and many amongst others.
Good morning, Amici, and to all our viewers on the YouTube channel, listeners, wherever you are across the world, of course, to my colleagues here. Religion is a very sensitive topic in Nigeria. I was listening to a conversation. I went to play volleyball yesterday evening, and somebody was speaking to people sitting beside me as I rested after the game. And he said he played professional football he said he went to Dubai, he went to Qatar, he went to a number of Islamic countries. And he's shocked that Nigeria still remains the way we are when it concerns religion. That even in these in these countries where Islam is like a state religion, it's not forced on you, and it's peacefully practiced. But here in Nigeria, religious matters, we carry them over and above every other thing.
Just to remind you, when I was in Dubai, I bought alcohol and enjoyed myself. Despite the fact that it was banned, and they said citizens should not take it. So those Muslims should not take it, but non-Muslims were exempted. But in Nigeria, non-Muslims are not exempted from it. That was the point I was trying to make.
I understand your point perfectly. Even at the first one you made it, I understood very clearly. And the key issue here is, if you're enforcing Sharia in your state, are you saying that non-Muslims cannot live in those states? It's a critical question. Secondly, the issue of revenue is being shared from the federation account, and you have banned the sale of alcoholic in your state. Should your state take a share of the VAT from alcoholic beverages sold in other states? That's been a contentious issue for a while. I don't know who's going to answer that question. I know the answer to that question. But we need to be very careful, because when the handshake goes beyond the elbow, it is becoming wrestling. It's no longer handshake. For the United States to get so concerned about happenings in Nigeria such that it is now demanding that the federal government, that the Nigerian government should do something about Sharia, should do something about a number of other things, disarming Fulani herdsmen and all of that, it means there's a lacuna somewhere. We need to first look inwards before we begin to assert our sovereignty and say,
if you fetch ant-infested wood,
lizards will come and visit you. That's normal. And it's because we are not taking care of our issues, and our neighbors, even though they are far removed from us, thousands of kilometers from us, but the Nigerian population in the US is a very significant one, and Nigerians in the US form part of the the biggest and best of their workforce, the best of the doctors. Some of them and most of them are Nigerians, and in all of that, in IT,
So they are causing
everywhere.
the U.S. government to show greater interest
in
in
Nigeria.
our domestic affairs.
So
Said.
what it means is that while we are saying, and I agree with Bayo Bodunri, don't poke your nose into our affairs too much, but it is a warning signal to us that as a nation, we must be careful what happens there. We cannot sweep everything under the carpet or everything. We Nigerianize everything. The world is a global village today. The world is actually a very small place now on account of technology. So we must be careful what we do, because what we do affects everybody else across the world.
Amici, good morning. Good morning, my colleagues, and good morning, our viewers and listeners across the world. Before the amalgamation, there was Sharia in the northern part of Nigeria and the northern part of Africa. And coming up the amalgamation and the various constitutions that came into place, the country was given the right of place as having a constitution. And when you have a constitution, every other law under that constitution bows to that constitution. That is how it is all over the world. The issue of Sharia laws played up again, apart from the 1978 that Bayo mentioned. In 1999, when Sani Yerima was governor of Zamfara State, he played it up, and that is what resulted to the response by Obasanjo. And right now, we're talking about 12 states have a little of Sharia law in those states. And I schooled in the north, ABU to be precise, and I tried to look at some kind of a Sharia court, what they do. And I peeped into one in my neighborhood then, and I saw that the people there are those in the same religion as the Islamic religion. I tried to search if I would see maybe a traditionalist or a Christian being brought to the court, to the Sharia court, but I didn't find any. Now, what are the issues they talk about? The issues that pertain to the negation of the religion. When you go against the provisions of the Quran and other books they use for teaching. So when the issue of Sharia is misunderstood by those even inside Nigeria, not talk of those outside, then there's a big problem. You as a Christian, you as a traditionalist, have you really understood the import of the Sharia law? Do you really understand where it covers and how it operates? And it behoves on even the people that practice the Sharia law to also educate non-Islamic, non-Muslims on where the Sharia law cuts across. So if you now implement Sharia law that affects my own fundamental rights, then there's a problem. So that is where probably those of our friends across the seas are seeing it, that this law is being implemented and is affecting those that are not practicing this religion. So what do we need to do? Like Adewale said, we need to look back, sit back, and not think back and say, okay, can we review the implementation of the Sharia law? Now, the Hisba people were inaugurated in Kano State to implement part of the Sharia law. That's why you talk about they attack alcohol and brought them down. That is the kind of, like we have Boy Scouts. So the Hisba group implementing part of the Sharia law. But have they crossed the line? That is where the question is.
Okay.
Amici, good morning to you. Good morning, listener. First and foremost, let's understand that this is just a report. It is not a position of the United States government.
But it's the position of the U.S. Congress for now.
For now.
Yes. It awaits concurrence by White House. That's President Trump.
Exactly. Let's not forget also that after Trump what was that thing? Social that he did.
His own truth social.
What happened? The State Department, U.S. State Department, and the War Department, those are their ministries, put forward certain proposals on using AFRICOM, having cooperation with the Nigerian military, having troops on ground, and all of those stuff. But at the end of the day, they engage with the Nigerian authorities, and we're seeing how this partnership is being implemented and working through. So I'm very sure and positive that in as much as this is the position of the U.S. Congress, those two committees that had the public hearing and put up all of this together, White House will engage, going with the joint committee that they have with the Nigerian authorities, and I'm sure they will be made to understand more comprehensively the position of Sharia law in Nigeria. Yes, Sharia law is in the Nigerian constitution. Don't forget Boko Haram. One of I'm sure the position, what informs the position of the US Congress is, look, Boko Haram is saying pure, true Sharia is what they want to. Even these Lukarawa and these other ones that don't even have names. That is what they're talking about. Mahmuda and Co. When Mahmuda struck in Kwara recently, killing 75 people according to official records, what was it? They said they wanted to come and preach Sharia, implement Sharia in the way and manner it should be. You know,
they think it
should be. So that is why I want to believe that is
even
what
against the Islamic provision that we know.
Yeah, I want to believe that's the reason why, you know, this informed the position of the US Congress. But I'm sure by the time they engage with the Nigerian authorities, they will understand. You know,
and lobbying
said, you know,
and talks, bilateral,
you know, and all of engagement, you know, and all of that moving forward. Just like the Balogun had said, you know, since the Second Republic, this has been introduced in our laws. I interviewed the late Poilitcal, and who was a member of that Constituent Assembly. And what did he tell me? That was in 2000, 2001 that I interviewed him. He said, look, that during that debate, that it was so tense that somebody used a chair to hit his head. He was his own head. He was bleeding. He almost died as a result of, you know, his position on
trying to push through
and all of that. So that is to tell you how, you know, sensitive this matter is. But I want to believe that with the engagement and diplomatic things that are ongoing, I'm sure they will understand better, you know, what it is. Just like we all have observed, those who have subscribed to it, you know, even Muslims, when you are brought under, you know, when you accept the jurisdiction of the court as a Muslim, when you accept the jurisdiction of the Sharia court, that is when
his pronouncement becomes binding.
Once you don't accept the jurisdiction, then
you resort to the civil court. Kule made a very important point that perhaps we opened our underbelly. We all know religion is very sensitive here, and we accept that it's sensitive, and in showing sensitivity to that issue, we appear to not to speak the truth. This truth that will cure the malady in our nation. We are seeing it, but sometimes we are afraid, oh, it's too sensitive. We will not want to solve the problem. We just try to bypass it while the problem persists. So the action of the US Congress, they are to make laws for good governance of US, not make law for the good governance of Nigeria. We saw the US Congress hold parliamentary hearing about issues in Nigeria that our Congress shied away from another, or
transmitting it live.
Didn't give the attention it deserves.
I'm not sure that I'm not speaking or defending the Nigerian Assembly. But when this Boko Haram thing started, and there were public hearings by the Nigerian National Assembly. It got to a point they got fed up. People started bringing motions and all of. They got fed up. They now started inviting the security chiefs for closed door sessions. Even that one didn't work. So they now started the security conference. Remember, they had one. It didn't work. They started going geographically. So it's not that they have also not done
the outputs. We are not implemented.
And so
what that tells us is that the problem is deeper.
Yes,
than we imagine on the surface.
Yes.
Let me also remind us that Islamic countries where Islam is the state religion, they have peace. And all of them have very good relations with the US. In fact, the US
Saudi Arabia has excellent.
One of the largest military bases of the US is in Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
And the country has solid relations with the US.
More conservative position at a time. Countries, even Saudi Arabia, that have state religion, are opening up. At the time they're opening up, I gave the instance of I drank alcohol in Dubai. I just had to present my passport. I was a visitor, and they sold it to me. Now, when I come back in my own country, I find myself in Canada. I can't do that. Now, it's just one out of the many conservative approach, but quite dangerous that we are taking. But because of politics, nobody wants to speak about it. Some people will say, Amit, why are you raising it? Sensitive. Why wouldn't I raise it? When we know it's at the foundation of the problem.
Let me also add that the implementation of the Sharia.
Yes.
How do I put it now? I'm searching for the word. You cut one man's hand for stealing a cow. What did you do to the governor of the state at that time who stole billions of naira? You didn't amputate his arm. That's also an issue. Yes, and that we must be careful.
Yes, this radicalism is not only in Islam, in Christianity. You see all these radicalist pastors. Their actions. We know where we got this religion from.
Oh yeah,
Israel and all. They are liberals, but the way we do it here. So the takeaway is that we must take a look at the way we practice our religion. We are becoming radicalists. Even traditional African religion, there's a resurgence now. You see extreme radicalist approach.
That's why you hear people talk about Ishese.
Yes.
Ishese, or how do I pronounce that? Ishese in the Yoruba speaking part of the country, which is talking about traditional religions.
Yes.
Now, you cannot afford to go to the extreme, whichever way, whether it's Christianity or Islam or traditional African religions.
Let's go for a break. We have another issue.
And everybody.
Yes, so we must implement those provisions. So let's go for a break. When we come back, new IG and P2B in Benin.
Good morning, Nigerians. We're now onto the mail segment on Political Platform. I am Aricha with GT. First mail coming from John Peters, writing from Port Harcourt, says, sometime last year, Nigerians watched with concern when the governor of Edo State warned Mr. Peter Obi not to visit the state without informing him, adding that his security might not be guaranteed if he did so again. After the Edo State chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Mr. Jared Tenebe, publicly declared that he hates Peter Obi, a statement many considered inflammatory to date, Mr. Tenebe has not been invited by security agencies to answer questions over such a threatening remark. Just yesterday, at a function of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, in Edo State, Peter Obi and other party leaders were reportedly attacked in what observers described as a serious and dangerous incident. Democracy is built on tolerance, competition of ideas, and freedom of movement. The opposition is not an enemy of the state. It is a vital part of democratic governance. Leaders must speak responsibly. Security agencies must act impartially and investigate threatening statements and violent incidents without fear or favor. And if you're Huntia, writing from Sango-Ota, Ogun State, says, former President Goodluck Jonathan once said, my political ambition is not worth the blood of innocent citizens. This was not a mere statement, but a reality which former President Goodluck Jonathan demonstrated till he left office. The attack and assassination attempt on Mr. Peter Obi in Edo State yesterday was sponsored by sponsored political thugs, is highly condemnable and calls for immediate investigation and arrest of those behind the crime. The Edo State Governor, Monday Okpeholo, has questions to answer. Recall the same current Edo State Governor last year said categorically that that Peter Obi is not to come to Edo State because his safety is not guaranteed? Is this the kind of politics that APC and Edo State governor know how to play? This must not be allowed to stand. President Tinubu must call his APC state governors and himself to order that politics is not about persecution, attack of opposition, and death of innocent persons. Ugochukwu Godwin, writing from Lagos, says, the social space was awash with a misinformation that Peter Obi escaped an assassination attempt. If not for home training, I wanted to insult the governor until I saw the facts from AIT News with pictures. It was an ADC faction against another who felt blindsided. Oyegun Senator Roland Obi, as the 2027 election draws closer, we should be mindful of false narrative, disinformation, and half-truths. Some people are geared to raise alarm and cause tension. It is good to hear that the DSS had to intervene and Peter Obi moves about with Nigerian police and DSS officials. Political parties should learn to solve their internal matters peacefully. We have a lot of security issues already. Olugbenga researcher writes in from Shashi in Lagos, says, reflecting on the executive order on oil revenue signed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the public reaction thereafter, let's recall that Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation metamorphosed to Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited in 2021. It is inappropriate for a limited liability company to be the custodian of our national wealth, and the law should have been reviewed even before now. Not minding the constitutional dictates as referred to in your analysis a few days ago and the reactions of labor leaders, I think the executive order is not out of place. Prompt action should have been taken by the National Assembly to regularize this in the Constitution. It is never too late to do the right thing. The National Assembly must act on the Constitution amendment now. Finally, Dixon Eka, writing from Abuja, says, the nepotistic tendencies of Tinubu administration has taken to another height with the nomination of AIG Tunji Disu to replace Kayode Egbetokun as the acting Inspector General of Police. Must he be a Yoruba person? Why the qualification and quality and experience of Tunji Disu may not be in doubt, it is morally bankrupt and clearly against the provision of the federal character principle for the president to continue to perpetuate only people from his geopolitical zone in sensitive positions. Whether we say it or not, it creates disaffection among the ranking officers and even the junior ones and reduces the morale of the personnel. Unfortunately, the president of Nigeria is always too powerful that the Council of State, the National Assembly can never question the choice of Mr. President, even when they are not happy with such choices. This is not healthy for our democracy. Indeed, that is all we can take on your mails today. Keep sending your mails with your name and where you're writing from to politicalplatform@dargroup.com.
Thank you so much for the mails. A lot of citizens are doing a comparison of who appointed who as Inspector General from where since 1999. They said Obasanjo appointed all the three Inspector Generals under him were of Yoruba ethnic extraction. They say Yaradua appointed two Igbos as IG. They said Jonathan appointed people from here and there, and even from the south and all that. Now Tinubu appointing from the southwest, and it has become an issue for debate.
Actually, quickly, earlier when Tinubu came into power, some people were saying that this is the Federal Republic of Lagos State. I don't know what they mean by that. So maybe probably I should add Abiola to my name. Abiola or Sefa, maybe I'll get an appointment. That is what some people are saying in social media.
Okay.
Whatever the president is doing, I want to believe is for the good of Nigeria. Just like what Tim quoted, Obasanjo said when the Sharia law came, if it is politically motivated, it will die.
To fizzle out.
So
okay.
Let's hope the best for the country.
Well, for me, is Egbetokun has left office. He came July 19, 2023. I mean June 19, 2023, and left yesterday. He left. The nation is still battling with worsening insecurity, rising incidents of kidnapping, banditry attacks, and terrorist activities in several parts of the country. So the job of Disu is cut out. My concern this morning is that there are statutory bodies, constitutional bodies that are supposed to be involved in the appointment of Inspector General of
The
Police.
presidency has said he will constitute the National Police Council
That is
to
it.
confirm he's acting.
And that's
This is
what I'm
acting.
saying.
Mm.
In the last 9 years or so, the Police Council is ignored. It's a constitutional body.
Nobody can
They always-
refuse
they always confirm.
confirmation.
They always confirm.
if-
They always advise
It's
the president.
the Council of, don't confuse Council of State.
National
with
Police
the
Council. Yes.
Don't confuse the Council of State.
It's just the governors and the president. They're
Yes.
not in.
And it's a constitutional body.
I agree with you.
And the
Once the
constitution,
appointment is made, the president will convince
the
them.
constitution was clear. The constitution was clear that the council must approve.
Okay, what Adebayo Aborin is saying is that the person must not act.
No, the person can even acting.
Uh-huh.
The police council supposed to, the name supposed to be submitted to.
That's what the presidency said.
No, that's not draw constitutional provision.
No, the presidency said we will convene a meeting of the National Police Council.
It's supposed to be done before it's his name.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I asked.
So-
Is it?
My worry is that
at Hawks vacuum.
Mm.
And I think that is what most probably.
nation about
would have
vacuum, but
happened.
what is stated in the constitution must not be toyed with.
No, it
No,
may
not be ignoring it. It's not
not.
yet, nobody.
It may not.
Quickly.
I mean, it may not even happen. You know the reason.
Quickly, very quickly.
Jisu was born on April 13, 1966, which means
He was due to retire next month.
yeah, by April 13. No, in 2 months. By
April, about
13,
40 days
he will
time.
be 60. So whether what happened to Egbetokun, where they extended his tenure beyond is in the name of serving 4 years.
Yes.
So if it's not confirmed, he will not, most probably, under the Police Act, have those 4 years. So I will advise the
Well,
president
Maxwell,
that he can handle him, keep him as acting for until he clocks 60, and then he's eased up. One mistake the presidency also made in their statement yesterday was that after the police council confirmation, they will send the name to the Senate. It's wrong. There's no provision in the Senate, in the Constitution.
for the Senate.
There's no provision
It's the
in
service
Police Act.
chiefs
No,
that go to the
The
Senate.
Police Act, the new Police Act,
Okay.
your past, which extended, which was the one that extended going to post tenure, made it mandatory that Senate
Must approve.
must approve.
Okay.
I have a copy of
The
it,
case.
Section 7.
We'll verify.
There's no
We'll
law
verify
in
that and
place
report
in confirmation.
tomorrow.
Yes.
Maxwell Opera lawyer instituted a case challenging the legality of the extension given to Egbetokun. That matter was supposed to come up tomorrow, February 26th. Some people say maybe that's what, because after a long period of dilly-dallying, the substantive matter was supposed to come tomorrow. Some people are saying maybe that's why the presidency asked Egbetokun to resign.
For family issues.
Well, it is what it is. Tunji Disu is now the acting inspector general of police.
Okay.
But he has his work cut out for him. Insecurity has risen to an all-time high across Nigeria. And with his experience, his wealth of experience, and his pedigree as a police officer, we expect to see a lot more, especially the proper use of the police mobile force to tackle these incidences of insecurity across the country.
And kidnapping.
Too much blood has been shed.
Okay,
And
so
the police must wake up.
So as we go, and a new trend, presidents are appointing police IG, DSS, DG from his own ethnic group. One writer says, he says, even though the president has got the powers to do so, but disaffection within these services is what we are not looking at. And I bring up one development. Fajuyi, the military administrator of the Adekunle Fajuyi, military governor of Old Western Region, was playing host to later Agui Ironsi, the head of state. And there was a coup. He said, before you kill this man, kill me first. He's a Yoruba man, laying his life down for an Igbo man who is the president. If you appoint someone from your ethnic group, will he do so? Is he ready to lay down his life? And he was killed. So loyalty mustn't necessarily be driven from ethnicity. We shouldn't encourage such. We say he has powers. But let's look at the wider implications. That's what we are not thinking of. Thank you so much.
29 senior police officers.
We go.
DIGs and AIGs.
We go.
Thank
you so much for joining us.
We've only spent on training them. We go in
a good time. Thank you much, Balogun.